Straight ahead on Texas Newswatch, details of how a deadly disease is killing infants.
And we'll explain how UT is fighting to protect against identity theft.
A Texas State student died after taking the drug Molly at ACL Fest. I'm Michael Aaron at Seton Medical Center. Hear from her parents and why experts say Molly is especially dangerous.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Texas Newswatch. I'm Heather Dyer.
And I'm Jasmine Crockett. Following their daughter's death, Jessica Hunter's parents are sharing their story. The 21-year-old Texas State student took the popular party drug Molly at ACL Fest, and she died 3 days later.
Michael Aaron spoke to the Hunters and explains why the drug is so dangerous.
There's no such thing as normal anymore.
Alan and Debbie Hunter are mourning the loss of their only child, but in the wake of that tragedy, they have a bold message.
We don't want her death to be in vain. We want someone to learn from the mistake that she made and not do it again.
Jessica and several of her friends took Molly, also known as ecstasy, at ACL. They were walking to their cars at the end of the festival when Jessica's body reacted, her limbs flailing, complexion gray, and sweating profusely. She had a heart attack. Her friends called for help.
We knew she had such potential in this world.
Jessica's parents say she was energetic, had a big heart, and a way with words expressed through poetry. They say drugs weren't part of her everyday life.
The friend she was with said it was the first time they'd ever done this.
Jessica spent her final days here at Seton Medical Center. Drug experts say cases like hers are becoming more common, and the risks simply aren't worth it.
There's a lot of danger surrounding it because there's a lot of unknown surrounding it.
Mason Chambers with Austin Recovery explains that a high rate of first-time drug users take Molly, which many people think is a pure form of ecstasy.
It's different from that. There's a very small percentage, if any, in regards to Molly, that is pure.
He says the powder is often laced with other substances. Some of Molly's possible health effects include increased heart rate, elevated blood pressure, increased body temperature, and seizures.
You don't know if the first one is going to be the one that is bad and how your body's going to react to it, and it could cost you your life.
Jessica wrote in one of her poems, "We all come on earth to do something spectacular, and we all leave this earth to a better place to stay. We might be leaving loved ones that will miss us very much, but when we get up to heaven, there will be people waiting for us." With those beliefs and by sharing their story, Debbie and Alan are pushing through the heartache in hopes that no one makes the same mistake Jessica did.
And why she made that decision, I'll never understand until I get to heaven and I can see her again.
In Austin, Michael Aaron, Texas Newswatch.
A UT student is in isolation tonight after being a passenger on the same flight as a Texas nurse who has Ebola. University President Bill Powers says that the student was not in close proximity to the nurse and there is no threat to the university. Campus officials are trying to keep everyone informed without creating a panic.
People think they're very susceptible to it when they haven't been in contact with anyone who's had Ebola. They haven't traveled to an area where it's prevalent.
UT has an infectious disease plan in place that includes isolating anyone on campus who tests positive for Ebola. The policy also includes strict cleaning protocols. One man in the U.S. has died from Ebola. 2 nurses who treated him at a Dallas hospital have tested positive for the disease.
And there's another disease getting some attention here in Texas. Whooping cough is a worldwide killer of infants and children. Rachel Corbelli shows us how Austin is finding ways to prevent it.
Pertussis, commonly known as whooping cough, is a highly contagious respiratory disease. Most of the time, its victims are young children. About 40% of infected infants and toddlers wind up in the hospital. But sometimes, especially in developing countries, pertussis can be deadly.
So worldwide, it kills about 200,000 people every year. Most of those are under age 5.
Dr. Jennifer Maynard and her team of graduate students are working to save the lives of these children. The researchers have developed a therapeutic drug that treats the symptoms of the infection.
Our hope is that we'll be able to use it in the developing world, where pertussis still kills about 200,000 babies every year.
Pending FDA approval, Dr. Maynard's drug will enter clinical trials, first in adults and then in children. It could take up to a year for Dr. Maynard's drug to be available worldwide. Until then, daycare centers like this one are stopping the spread of infection by teaching children how to stop the spread of germs. The Child Development Center at the University of Texas has never had a case of pertussis at either of their two facilities. The staff incorporates lessons about germs into their curriculum, and they are vigilant about the children's cleanliness.
We make sure that all of the things that children need to wash hands are at their level. We model washing hands. We make sure they wash hands after they come in from outside.
The program requires that participating kids are appropriately vaccinated.
We recognize that even immunized children can become ill. So being aware of what symptoms require children to be excluded from care is really important.
Rachel Corbelli, Texas Newswatch.
The new Texas voter ID law is affecting how students get involved in local politics.
And we'll introduce you to a company that's using new methods to try and help you protect your ID.
A single ember from a wildfire can travel over a mile. That ember can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where that ember will land. Only what happens before it does. Visit fireadapted.org to learn how you can help protect your community from wildfires.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Psst, they're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
With Election Day coming up and new voter ID laws being put into action.
Over in the Multimedia Newsroom, Rachel Robillard tells us how these laws are going to impact you when you go to vote.
Texas is enforcing its voter identification law for the November 4th midterm elections. The new state law requires voters to show a state-issued ID and is affecting people across Texas, especially students attending local universities.
Students move every year in a lot of cases. They move from their dorm to an apartment, to a different apartment. And so you have to actually change your address and re-register to vote every time you move.
Because out-of-state students don't have a Texas state ID, they are unable to vote.
You have to get a specific type of ID, so it'll cost some people more, and some people just don't have that time, so I guess less people will be able to turn out at the polls.
The question now is whether people will make the effort to have a valid state ID in order to vote.
I think voter turnout is pretty abysmal as it is, and I don't know that it's going to change it that much.
Regardless of what happens with the law, everybody should go out and vote because it's just going to help everybody get their opinion out.
Early voting started on Monday and will continue until Friday, October 31st. If you miss early voting, November 4th is officially Election Day. Back to you.
Thanks, Rachel. Here are a few places close to the University of Texas campus that you can go in order to vote. The UT Flan Academic Center, the Housen Public Library, and Fiesta Mart Central. All of these locations close at 7 o'clock each night, and you must bring a valid photo ID to cast your vote.
Identity theft is the most prevalent crime in America. More than 10 million cases have been reported just in the last year. Joanna Lyles shows us how a new University of Texas program intends to fight the growing threat.
UT student Taylor Villarreal is one of the millions of Americans who has been a victim of identity theft.
It left me really uneasy and I was really uncomfortable, and when I applied for jobs I had to say, hey, this is my social security number, but there's some questionable things going on right now, and it was just a huge, messy ordeal.
Identity theft is one of the fastest growing crimes in the U.S., and oftentimes young adults are targeted.
They are a group that, because they are so active online and tend to be very social, that they have some issues that some things they should be really careful about. And so taking advantage of all of the resources that are in the center would be helpful to them.
In an effort to educate those most at risk, UT Austin has launched IDWise, an online identity theft prevention resource and one-stop shop for articles, tips, videos, and even games on how to manage and secure your personal information for individuals, businesses, and families.
The ultimate goal for IDWise is to create smarter citizens, and especially obviously around the realm of identity theft and identity protection, and as a result of that, reduce costs to the state.
IDWise researchers are hoping this unique resource will help decrease identity-related crime and associated economic losses, reputation damage, and emotional distress. Joanna Lyles, Texas Newswatch.
With student debt rising, many students are struggling to keep up. We'll tell you the best way to avoid defaulting on student loans.
Come in all shapes and sizes. We'll show you how APD is recruiting more women to join the police force.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please, don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
So good to see you guys. So, what's up? Oh, we finally bought a place. Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on... Is it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
In a male-dominated profession, the Austin Police Department is looking for diversity in recruitment. Jillian Mitchell shows us how APD is searching for more women to join the force.
APD is actively looking for women like Officer Sofia Loera to join the ranks.
So you're like, oh, this day is going good.
APD has a very low ratio of male to female officers. Out of 800 police, less than 10% are women. Some female recruits are weary of working with male partners who don't see them as equals, but Officer Loera says she's just as strong as the men.
As a female, and I'm 5'5", but you have females even shorter than me, more petite, and you have to know what you're doing. You have to be able to gain control, use your voice commands, and show no fear.
Women filled the seats of Cornerstone Church Saturday to learn what it meant to be APD strong. Many of the speakers shared the advantages of having women in the department, including better communication skills and adding a different perspective toward domestic abuse.
Let's give them a big hand. These are my heroes.
Through visual presentations and heartfelt testimonies, APD hopes events like these will attract women to the department. Officer Melody Bowman has been with APD for 9 years. She says it's up to women to prove themselves, but the job is worth it.
So I definitely have experienced men acting like I couldn't do the job. But I always tell people, my husband's 6'6". I did the exact same things that he did to get the job.
Potential recruit Camilla Bates says she would dedicate everything to help make the world better for her baby.
Just knowing that I could make a difference to make her world safer, like a big difference, is amazing to me.
Jillian Mitchell, Texas Newswatch.
And for many graduates, the 6-month grace period for student loan repayment is about to end. First payments are coming up in the next few weeks, but new reports show more and more graduates are defaulting student loans and reaching out to lenders for options, but little is being done. Financial advisors say this is something that can be prevented in college.
Like a professional while they're still in college, but once they graduate, they find that they're now having to live like a student.
Advisors hope to see less financial cuts in the next legislative session to prevent student loan debt from increasing while in college.
For many high school seniors, going to the University of Texas seems like a far-off option. The university has created a new program called Texas Advance to give incoming students a better idea of how much financial aid they will be receiving. The program will enable 750 high school seniors to receive their scholarships before winter break instead of in the spring.
The idea was that we wanted to put some emphasis on awarding scholarships to students at the beginning of the application process for students so that they would have a better idea of what they might be able to receive in scholarship and financial aid monies that would help convince them whether or not UT Austin was a place that they could afford to go.
In order to be considered for the Texas Advance program, seniors only need to submit their application to Apply Texas at applytexas.org. The priority deadline has been extended until November 3rd.
I'm Nita Mandar, and I'll have your sports this week with last night's World Series highlights and big changes for Austin's local D-League team. Kill it!
Really? Buzz, what's up, man? You left some leaves burning out here.
Yeah, I just came in just for a second.
Come on, man. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. You could torch the whole neighborhood.
It's a good point there, Smokey.
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Which planet are we living on? It's right here.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea. Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow. I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
They were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
A big change in the Austin sports scene this week as the NBA D-League franchise, the Austin Toros, announced to the public they were changing their name.
I'm extremely excited on behalf of all Spurs Sports and Entertainment to announce that from this day forth, our D-League affiliate franchise is going to be known as the Austin Spurs.
Owned and operated by the current world champion San Antonio Spurs, the franchise has had success since its inception in 2005. Now, after more closely aligning themselves to their parent club down south, the Austin Spurs are hoping for even more. And Game 2 of the 2014 World Series was in Kansas City last night, this one going much better for the Royals than they fared in Game 1. It didn't start well, though, as Gregor Blanco takes a Yordano Ventura pitch deep in the first inning. The Giants jumped out to a quick lead, but the Royals would respond. Bottom of the first, Billy Butler hits a Jake Peavy fastball through the middle to put the Royals on board and tie the game up at 1. Bottom of the 6th, and the Royals start to explode. Billy Butler again, this time to left, and the Royals take a lead they would not relinquish. After a 2-run double by Salvador Perez, Omar Infante puts the cherry on top for the Royals, with the 2-run jack running the score to 7-2 Royals, where the final score would stand. The series is tied 1-1, heading back to San Francisco on Game 3 on Friday night. And World Series fever has even affected music in Northern California. Some radio stations in San Francisco have banned Lord's hit song Royals for the duration of the World Series. The ban was prompted by listener requests asking stations to stop playing the hit single this past weekend. And actually, Jasmine and Heather, Lord has said that the song was inspired by Kansas City Royals Hall of Famer George Brett when she saw him signing autographs with the word Royals on his uniform. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Nita. Speaking of music, most music festivals are about listening to live music. However, we'll show you another way that bringing music to a community is happening here in Austin.
And how performing artists are coming together to change the media.
Really? Buzz, what's up, man? You left some leaves burning out here.
Yeah, I just came in just for a second.
Come on, man. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. You could torch the whole neighborhood.
It's a good point there, Smokey.
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Which planet are we living on? It's right here.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea. Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
They were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Here on the UT campus, African American students gathered to showcase and celebrate the multitudes of cultural talent. Hosted by popular YouTuber Spoken Reasons, the event embraces the visibility of African American students at UT and aims to transform the media's negative perception of young African American men. The performances included singing, dancing, and a little comedy. They will also be held here again next fall. Rapper Cameron Woods says this is his 4th year at the event. His goal is to change the media's perception of young black men.
You're not a negative stereotype. Take that away. Take away the veil to actually see what we really are, what we have to offer. And hopefully it's entertaining.
Organizers say that because African Americans make up only 4% of the population, these events are special and that they're already planning the next one.
Music is a big source of joy for many people, but you may not think people in the deaf community have the same love for music. Victoria Garcia introduces us to a company that brings the gift of music to people with no hearing.
Joe, a hard of hearing student at UT, has grown up loving music just like everyone that has grown in the live music capital of the world. Austin, Texas was named one of the top deaf-friendly cities in the U.S. and have an estimate of 65,000 deaf and hard of hearing people.
Any place that you might go where you want to have clear communication with another person is a place where we can interpret, and we probably should be interpreting and have interpreted. Think of some important transaction you're having, and when you go into that situation, you want clear communication.
Barbie Parker is the creative director of Lotus Sign, a company that serves as sign language interpreters for the deaf community at music festivals. They don't just translate lyrics, but capture the spirit of music and pass it on to the deaf audience.
It's a hard job. It's not easy. People think, oh, you sign next to this performer and dress so cool. No, it's hard work. Hours and hours of studying information. It's not always fun, but to put in the time to practice and then interpret for the deaf is worth it.
Why need interpreters at events in general? Joe, a hard of hearing student at UT, says because deaf audiences need the same access as the hearing.
Deaf people love music too. Me and the deaf community, we can't hear, and I don't have a hearing aid. It's so I can enjoy music too. Sometimes I wonder what the song says or what the background of the song is, and I am confused. If I can see the interpreter, I can have the same enjoyment that hearing people have.
Lotus Sign next big performance will be at Fun 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 Fest, which will be held on November 7th. Victoria Garcia, Texas Newswatch.
2 news anchors in Chicago have their own type of sign language, and they showed it off to a live audience on October 7th. It's a viral video that's exploded over the past few weeks.
They've worked together for a long time, and they've created an epic handshake routine full of dance moves and sound effects. This handshake was filmed live during the commercial break of WGN, and the anchors just make it right on time to get back to the show.
You know what, Heather? That looks pretty awesome. I think we should come up with our own handshake.
I agree.
Ready?
Yeah.
Texas Newswatch. Thanks for joining us tonight. To view this show again or previous editions online, visit journalism.utexas.edu/TexasNewsWatch.
Join us again next Thursday for another edition of Texas Newswatch. Good night.